Hello, welcome to Cinema Savvy. We haven't gone anywhere. Hello, welcome back. We have just got done with
We're
a previous stream
back.
with a review for At Eternity's Gate, and right now we're moving on to another Academy Award nominated film this year. Again, like At Eternity's Gate, it's only been nominated for one award. This time, this one's been nominated for Best Actress for Glen Close, and as you can see from the title, this film that we're talking about is The Wife, which is the 2017 movie, technically. I'm so used to saying 2018 movie for 2019 Oscars. This actually first debuted in 2017 at the Toronto International Film Festival, and then was later released in the United States in August of last year. So therefore, it still technically counts despite being a 2017 movie. For anyone who doesn't know the plot about this movie, the plot, according to IMDb, is a wife questions her life choices as she travels to Stockholm with her husband, where he is slated to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature. There is a lot more to it than that, and I'm going to get into it now. I'm going to keep it as spoiler-free as possible at the beginning and then move into spoilers. I don't think this is going to be a particularly long review. Before I get into the review, though, and I know that I said this on the previous review, I know Naomi is tired of hearing this spiel, but if you're clicking this for the new time, if you're clicking this for the first time, you need to know this information. This upcoming weekend on Sunday, the early hours of Monday morning, Sunday night, we're going live for an Oscars live stream. We're going to be watching the night of the Academy Awards as the Oscars unfold, and we want to get you guys involved. We want you to send us in your list of predictions, your first and second choice for each category of the Academy Awards. Get it sent in to us into our email, which is cinemasavvypodcast@gmail.com, or send it into our Facebook, and the link to that is in the description down below. As I said, first and second choice for each category, and whoever gets the most right on the night of the Oscars will have a chance to feature on a future episode. We've already had some in, so please get as many of those in as possible. But yeah, The Wife. So I really didn't know what to make of this movie beforehand. I kind of went, I don't want to say I went into with a bad attitude. I just thought it's going to be another one of those movies where the performance is great, but the movie's just kind of meh. And boy, how wrong was I? I had a really good time at this movie. I really, really enjoyed this movie. It's a great drama film, directed by Bjorn Runge. I think that's how you pronounce it. I probably butchered that surname at least. I'm not aware of his work. I think he's done a lot of Swedish films, and the writer as well, Jane Anderson. I know she's done a lot of TV movies, episodes for TV shows, but I'm not familiar with her writing either. But no, it really, really all came together, this movie, and I had a great time with it. It's a great drama film, and it almost feels like you're almost watching a stage production, because the two lead actors in this film, you've got Glen Close as the main character, called Joan, and then you've got her husband, Professor Joseph Castleman, played by Jonathan Pryce. Those two are like the pillars of this movie, and pretty much every scene is them. Not every scene, but most of them is their interplay and their drama and the family dynamic, essentially, because although they may put on a front to a lot of people, there's a lot going on there, and there's a lot of turmoil going on with that family, especially with the son of the family as well. And it's very difficult to talk about this movie without giving too much away, because it's really good. Inherently, what it comes down to is that, as I mentioned in the plot, Jonathan Pryce's character is heading to Stockholm to pick up an award, Nobel Prize for Literature, for all the books he's written over the years. They've all been like international bestsellers. But as the movie goes on, as it gets more into it, you kind of find out through flashbacks, because it is a non-linear film, mostly. It pans back to the flashbacks when it needs to. It's not like in a completely random jumble of scenes. But maybe he's undeserving of that award. Maybe his wife, Glen Close, has had some input with that, or perhaps should take the credit for the success of those stories. And we essentially find Glen Close as a woman, they're sort of, both of them are in the autumn of their lives, essentially. And she's questioning whether why she was married to this guy. Is she happy with her current situation? Very real emotions, I'm sure, that a lot of couples do go through, where they think that, if I'd have made that one different decision, would that have changed this? Would this have changed this? And I thought that was a fascinating dynamic. Watching this movie, I was almost reminded of beats from Death of a Salesman, for example, because you do have that element where you have the estranged relationship between the father and the son of the family. The son really wants the dad's approval. He wants to hold himself up to him. And then, as Death of a Salesman goes on, he finds out that maybe his dad's not all that great. alongside the wife as well in Death of a Salesman. She finds out that, you know, he's been having affairs during the relationship, which is also a case with this. So I did get a lot of similarities with that as well. And I mean, I love the themes of Death of a Salesman. It's not the greatest play ever, but it does have some really good themes, and I've noticed a lot of similarities with this to that film. Now, you've said that you've seen the trailer for this film and you're kind of aware of it, so I'm going to pass over to you on this one.
My thoughts on this, really, I like how this is an original, right? This isn't adapted from anything, is it?
It is adapted. It's based on a novel by Meg Wolitzer. I've never read that book, so I don't know how closely this movie is in terms of that.
Okay, because I thought we were getting another biopic, and I was like, because I'm kind of getting sick of biopics at the moment. I mean, I love my musician biopics, but enough is enough. So I'm happy that this is at least like based on a fictional material. And it does really seem kind of fascinating just to see the development between these two characters. So I don't know if you thought differently when you actually watched it, but to me, it just seemed like a whole film about character development, which is something that I like because I like seeing characters grow. That's just me.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And I mean, Glenn Close is sort of like the main one we need to talk about, although Jonathan Pryce is fantastic in this movie. I saw sides to Jonathan Pryce in this movie that I haven't seen before. I haven't seen a whole lot of his movies, but Glenn Close, I mean, she's already an established powerhouse of an actress. Fatal Attraction, even her performance as Cruella de Vil, which I believe also got a Oscar nomination.
Excuse?
I might be wrong about that. I could if I don't know if you could fact check that for me as I continue.
I'm going to check that like right now. Like hang on.
But no, she is astounding in this movie, and you do see a lot of sides to her. There's a lot of subtleties she brings, whether it be with dialogue or without dialogue, entirely with her expression. And
not for the Academy Awards, but definitely for a Golden Globe.
Oh, okay, there we go. I knew she got some kind of nomination from it. But yeah, she brings a lot of subtlety and nuance to the performance, and you understand where she's coming from. Like when her husband is up on stage, you know, accepting these awards, giving these speeches, and she's just sort of stood there in the crowd alongside all the other wives when she knows that she should be on that stage. Now, when it flashes back, I think it flashes back to the late 50s and then it progresses through flashback into the mid to late 60s. Now, at that time, not to say there weren't any female writers, but they were very few and far between. It was a very patriarchal environment, essentially, which was the literary world, essentially. Like a woman could be a fantastic writer, but when all the editors and critics and everyone like that are male, they're pretty much not going to get the time of day. That happened, and there's a scene in this movie where when she's...
George Eliot.
Exactly. And there's a scene in the movie where there is this female writer, and they go to a lecture that she holds where she's reading some excerpts from a book. She's in the flashbacks. She meets Jonathan Pryce's character. He's a professor and she's a co-ed, so there is that dynamic there. And he's trying to be a writer himself, and we learn that, you know, there's a great scene actually where he's written a novel, and he passes it to her, who he's having a relationship with, and she reads it and she goes, "It's not that great. Like the writing's very wooden. The characters, you know, the characters are stilted," and he flies off the rails because he's a very proud person. He can't accept rejection. And right there and then in the movie, he's saying like, "Fine, then this relationship, this thing, it's over. Like you need to believe in me in this relationship." And she's like, "I can still love you, but tell you, you know, critique your work if it's not that great." And that's where he poses the idea, well, maybe you could like touch it up for me then. And then unfortunately that escalated, and that happened throughout every single novel, and she got no credit for it. And in the performance, like, you do really sympathize with her, and every talk he's giving, every speech, you're waiting for that moment where he's going to give his wife proper credit, and he's going to own up. He's going to like tell everyone that he's a sham and that all the credit should go to her. And I'm not going to give away whether he does or he doesn't, but it's very frustrating, and you understand the frustration with the character. Christian Slater's also in this movie. I'm a massive fan of Christian Slater as an actor, and I haven't seen him in a film for years, it seems. I can't remember the last movie I saw Christian Slater.
You mentioned Christian Slater. This is the second time in like tonight that I'm thinking of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves now. Like, what the hell?
or True Romance, which might be my favorite Christian Slater movie. I love him in that film, and the guy doesn't age. I swear to God, he doesn't age. He hasn't aged a day in this movie. He's playing a reporter in the movie he's quite a slimy character, although when we see that side to Jonathan Pryce, he's kind of doing it for the right reasons. He's trying to worm his way in. He's trying to get some interviews with Glen Close and the son of the family. He wants to tell the true story that maybe all the credit that's gone to her husband isn't true and isn't merited. And he's trying to essentially dish the dirt on him. And he's striving to do that all the movie. That's his character. And again, it gets into spoiler territory, so I can't really talk about it all that much. I do want to talk about the actual title of the movie because it's such a simple title, but you can honestly read into this title in so many ways. The Wife. No identity, very detached. If you're in conversation and you just go like, oh yeah, this is the wife. It's not very personal. It's not very loving. It's a moniker. It's a title. And it's something you show off to someone. And that's essentially inherently the story and the frustration with Glen Close. She is this very intellectual, brilliant writer, but she's been caught up in, society and what's expected of her. She's got to be there to support her husband, and she essentially doesn't have a voice. She's a writer who doesn't have a voice,
That's like with many women throughout history. Like as soon as what used to be seen as as soon as you got married, you belonged to that person. And that's just a shit way of looking at it. I mean, if I could look at a example, you have George Clooney and Amal Clooney. Now, Amal Clooney has done fantastic things in her own right. She's a human rights lawyer. She's campaigns for human rights. But most people will only know her as George Clooney's wife, which is, I think, it's insulting to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And, we're talking about strong female leads and everything like that. And I know that, that's a subject for a different time. And I know we sort of vaguely hint at it all the time, but this is an example of that. And especially when you get to the end of this film, there's moments where you're seeing these two characters argue, this couple that's been married for years and years and have, got a grandkid that's born during the movie, which is a really nice scene. That's a great juxtaposition, actually, and inherently the theme that runs throughout this movie is that, and a question that is asked at a very crucial juncture in the movie, do you love me? And you get the impression that obviously they've been together for so long, they've weathered the storm, they've had kids together, they've now got a grandchild, that there is going to be something there. He asks her that question, he says, well, why did you marry me then? When she goes through a moment in the film where she says, I've had enough of this, I want to end this. Once we get back home, I'm going to call my lawyer and I want a divorce. And then they get into arguing and he just says to her, well, why did you marry me? And she doesn't know. She doesn't have an answer. The words kind of stick in her mouth. And it's a beautiful scene and that escalates. But there's moments where the two characters will argue, really raised voices and really harsh things being thrown each way. And then they get a phone call. And I know I'm getting into spoiler territory here, but what the hell?
Go for it.
They get a phone call and it's their daughter who's just had the baby. And the baby's on the phone. And then both of them snap into the maternal-paternal instinct, cooing over the baby and getting emotional and everything, and saying that for everything that we've been through, for all the arguments, we do have a pretty good life. We've got a grandchild, we've got children that mostly love us, and I'll get onto that in a minute with the son dynamic. The son is an up-and-coming writer. He's written a short story that he really wants his dad to read and really wants his dad's approval on it. The mum, as is often the case in most, not all relationships, but mostly the case, the mum's always very supportive, and the son is trying to live up to the vast shadow that's cast by the dad. And his dad's having none of it. He's saying that, it's a budding first attempt. My son's trying to find his voice. He's he's a writer that's just getting into it. And his son, it doesn't feel like he's got that approval or his love of his dad. So there are a lot of scenes where he is very angsty, is trying to rile up his dad, and the two very much do clash there, which makes it all the more interesting when you do get those flashbacks and you see that his dad wasn't a great writer and went through a lot of problems and went through criticism. So, and then now he's giving criticism to his son. you know, and the son's acting in a very similar way that his dad did. There's a lot of dynamics like that, and I don't want to go into too many more of them because I do urge people to go and watch this movie. The ending's very emotional. It definitely leaves you thinking and raises a lot of questions about what it means to love someone, relationships, especially if you've been in a relationship for a very long time, with a lot of arguments. Yeah, and ultimately you just get that sense of the strength of Glenn Close. She goes through so much in this movie, and especially at the end, she does sort of like, in some way, come into her own. And there are seeds there that there is hope for her character, maybe with her writing. It's a fascinating film. It really is a multi-layered film. I would definitely watch this movie again, for the performances especially. It's a very interesting watch. It's a nice sort of snapshot of a long-time marriage relationship that has gone through a lot of problems and is continually going through some problems. I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic drama, well directed, especially well acted. And I'm going to actually check the nominees. I know we need to finish off very, very quickly, but I'm going to check the nominees this year for Best Actress, because I actually think after watching this that I kind of want Glenn Close to take it. If I'm going with my own personal opinions on it. Best Actress. Where is Best Actress? Where is Best Actress? I am not finding it. I'm stumped. I've got Best Actor. Best Actress, here we go. So we've got Yalitza Aparicio from Roma. I haven't seen Roma yet. I'm seeing that on Friday. Glenn Close from The Wife. Olivia Colman from The Favourite. I've got a feeling she might take it. Lady Gaga from A Star Is Born, and Melissa McCarthy from Can You Ever Forgive Me, which we did a review on the other day. I'm thinking Olivia Colman's probably going to take it, and I love Olivia Colman as well. Her speech at the BAFTAs was one of the most endearing and heartfelt and genuine speeches I think I've ever seen. She's very, very down to earth. I love Olivia Colman, and she was fantastic in The Wife.
She was just an angel. Like, honestly, watching her do her speech, I feel like it was very human because she obviously did not expect it. And everything that she said came from the heart. It wasn't like rehearsed or anything. She was like, oh, I'm going to get pissed now. And
she was so awkward, so socially awkward. She wasn't prepared. She like got up on stage. She was like, oh God, I don't know what I'm saying. Oh yeah, no, I do. I've got a speech. Oh no, I haven't got my glasses. I can't read it. And she was getting flustered and everything. It was really, really genuine. She got the biggest applause of the night, which was really sweet.
I do love Olivia Colman.
Now, I haven't seen Roma yet, so technically I can't give this a fair shot between all of the nominated people. But at the moment, out of the ones I've seen, it's a toss-up between Olivia Colman and Glenn Close.
Wouldn't it be weird to have Academy Award winner also plays PC Doris Thatcher in Hot Fuzz? Nothing like a bit of girl on girl.
The thing is, though, with Olivia Colman, like I don't know if you've seen The Favourite, but that is, and they've talked about that. That is such a triangle of a movie in terms of its performances, with Olivia Colman, Emma Stone, and Rachel Weisz. In all honesty, Olivia, out of all of those, and I'd have to probably do some like math and add up the screen time of each character. Olivia Colman probably gets the less amount of screen time out of all three of those actors in the movie, yet she's up for lead actress. It's very, very strange. And then obviously both Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone are up for supporting actress. In my opinion, each one of those people is a supporting actor that come together as a whole for The Favourite. But in terms of emotional range in the movie, I'd probably have to give it to Glenn Close. She wowed me in this movie. She showed a multifaceted character, which I'm not saying Olivia Colman didn't in The Favourite, but that was a very different role. It was very humorous, and for the most part, she was just kind of this, it tapped into sort of the buffoonery of high society, and she was very childlike, almost like Miranda Richardson from Blackadder as Queen Elizabeth I. There were other sides to her as well, where we do see this lonely woman, but I think, in my opinion, Glenn Close definitely showed more to her performance as a lead actress. So personally for me, I would like to see Glenn Close take it as of right now. But that I will find out at the weekend, I guess, on Sunday night. So I know you need to take off now. I've pretty much said everything I can on this movie. Go and check out this movie if it's playing near you, or if you can just find it anywhere. It's a great drama film, great performances. In all honesty, it might be one of my favorites that I've seen this Academy Award year. and it's literally only nominated for that one category for Best Actress. But that'll do it for my review for The Wife. Be sure to comment, subscribe, let us know what you thought of this movie if you've seen it. What did you think to any of the performances? Who do you think is going to win on the night of the Oscars? Anything relating to this movie or indeed any of the Academy Award films, please do let us know. Naomi, I'm going to thank you because you've been an absolute trooper helping with these reviews.
No worries.
I like having someone to bounce off of and have a conversation with. Even if you don't talk much, it's just, it helps to my thoughts to flow, essentially. Probably better than it is if I am on my own just speaking to a howl-like red dot on my computer screen in front of me.
Well, where do you get the awesome puns coming in?
There we go.
I mean...
puns are life. Now, we should hopefully be on again tomorrow for 2 more reviews. I need to see Isle of Dogs, and what was the other movie I need to watch? Cold War, which is nominated for, I believe, Best Cinematography and Best Foreign Language Movie. I'm not going to get to watch all of the foreign language movies, unfortunately, but I know that Cold War has been nominated for a few, so I did want to give that one a fair shot. So tune in tomorrow for those 2 reviews, and then I've got Roma to review on Friday. I've then got Green Book to get watched before Sunday, and then hopefully... I think I've pretty much seen everything within my power to watch without going absolutely insane and doing 24-hour stints where I'm just constantly watching movies. But
you're very brave or very foolish.
Most likely very foolish. Very foolish, definitely. But yeah, so that'll do it for our videos for today. Thank you for everyone that tuned in or commented. And remember, get your predictions sent in, cinemasavvypodcast@gmail.com or on our Facebook. Links to those are in the description down below. And we'll see you on the next video. See you guys.